Well, I'm live, and here I am at the presidential suite. And we were having a pretty interesting, lively chat around between 4 and or 3:30 to 4:30. And I think I don't know what I don't. One of the things I've been coming across all week has been, what the heck is going on? Things are so weird. And the photo I got of me, that is the image portrayed, was describes what's up, and I think the biggest issue isn't that anything's what's going on, and they mostly have been so programmed, so domesticated. We have dogs and cats and cows and sheep and chickens, but human beings have been the cows and sheep and chickens, but human beings have been the most domesticated. Because all those other animals, with with inside their DNA, they have a understanding of what their job is, who they are. They don't question their existential reality. They're just happy to be who they are. They're happy to be part of all our relations, but we don't have a clue. So, have a clue. So, I think this chat needs to be about what's up? What's the clue? What do we need to start to do? Hey, I like that. Kind of rhymed. Anyway, I said I would be here at 7. I'll stick around for at least 10 minutes before if people. Oh, but I'm basically at this minute. Um, when you say the word homeless, people get all kinds of perceptions of what it is. Part of really what the real reality is that all humanity is existentially homeless because they don't know who they are, what their job is, what they're supposed to be doing. I've never met, I've worked for a lot of very rich people and very powerful people, and I've never met any of them that are happy, you know? I never met any of them that are generous. If they give anything, it's because of what they think they'll get from it, or they feel guilty. I mean, that's what a liberal is. A liberal is a person who feels guilty about Europe. Buddy. So, buddy, what do you think? My opinion of liberals are people who feel guilty about their prejudice, right? They aren't comfortable with who they are, so they're always trying to act like how they think people think they should be. And the best example of liberals was in the movie Gangs of New York. It opens and these rich Dutch folk come flip-flopping down and they go through 5 points where they were because the movie opens with the last Dutch guy in 5 points. Now 5 points is being run by the Irish, the gangs of the Irish. And the rich liberals come down and they get off of their thing, and the policeman is there to escort them to keep them safe. And 5 points. And the liberals go, "Oh, look at this! This is terrible. Somebody should do something about this." And they get, you know, down to the end of the bridge and go down the steps, and there's a can there saying "donation for the welfare of the Irish, and he throws in a penny, and he gets, you know, back in the carriage, and they go up. And the next scene is he's at his fine mansion up on Fifth Avenue, and all of their servants are Irish, and there's an Irish maid upstairs, and he is basically raping her, but she lets him do it because as he's taking her from behind, lifting her skirt up and taking her from behind, she's bent over the Dutch rich man's wife's makeup table, and she's going through her jewelry and stealing it, all the jewelry, the pearls, the diamonds, and sticking it to her bodice while the guy's taking her from behind. And then, he's like been so violently in his rape of her that she kind of just hobbles out, right? And that's what a liberal is, right there, And what's a conservative? Well, we don't have any. We just have psycho-reactionaries. And so that's what the general public has been domesticated to be used to. So now, with Donnie being our president, and he's no worse, no better, no anything than any of those other, bought politicians. Donnie just, his whole life, he has been, his father bought him everything. He's never had any human interaction that would give him empathy. He only thinks about himself. Everything is viewed through the lens of himself. Me, 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 me. And it's so visceral. So he's in the spotlight, which he loves, and he doesn't realize that he was domesticated for this thing. The TV show, the Apprentice, he was the apprentice. He was the apprentice. He was there as the apprentice. And all of this is popping out, and it's bringing a Gestalt. In German means lightning understanding. And the, basic body politic, Donnie is the X-Lex of the colon of the body politic. And it's emptying out in diarrhea all over the feet of the body politic. They don't know what to do. Yep. Straight up tools. Yep. So, the public is being brought to awareness of this, and they don't know how to take it. They don't, they have no refuge to hide. There is no TV show. It's 24/7 news of Donald's corruptness and crassness and just inability to tell the truth. Meaning, anyone who tells the truth, who doesn't lie or cheat or steal, does it because they know it enables their life to be so much easy. Where Donald doesn't care. He lies, cheats, steals right in front of you, and says, screw it, And because he knows that if he's going to be punished, his punishment will punish the rest of the country. And not only the rest of the country, the rest of the world. And he doesn't care. He has no concept of, love's co-creation. He's never felt that, because his father gave him everything of his life, You should go, I'm sure online you can find Donald Trump's, he went to military school for high school. And he had his father's, tailor build his uniform. He didn't wear the uniform the school had. He wore the one he wanted. And he looks like a transvestite, Go take a look at those pictures. Unbelievable. And the pictures of his friends behind him are looking at him like, my God, right? So That's pretty much been, and who was Donald Trump's biggest mentor was Roy Cohn, the most corrupt, perverted person in American politics. You know, so this is where we are at. You know, and so what we, as the cadre of Love's co-creation, is we have to figure out a strategy to put forth to give an example of moving forward. And the only tool in our toolbox strong enough to actually, work is the artist in the first person, culture, theater, poetry, literature, visual arts. We have to promote a forward, example, an aesthetic, a new alternative aesthetic. That's what we need to produce, a new alternative aesthetic, not the guy who dies when the most toys wins, but the person who is most empathetically connected to the needs of all our relations. That is a person who will be happy. And I try to, in every day and every way, serve that direction. You know, I'm human, I'm venal, I'm a moron. I have my good days, my bad days, my good moments, my bad moments. But I know that with a cadre, with a community, with a group working on this is how success is manifested. Okay, what are we saying here? That's just horrible. Let's see. Looks like it's us. Nope, they're not liberally minded. Completely the opposite. Yep. You're eating breakfast, my favorite meal of the day. Not only has liberal arts been, the liberal arts in most liberal art universities is, business, um, you know, um, legal or criminal justice, and you know, design for product monetization. The one thing that isn't taught is, civics. When I went to school, we had civics in my grammar school. We had civics in my middle school. And I went to, prep schools and seminaries, and we were taught ancient history, which was civics. Yeah, cognitive dissonance. That's what's taught in schools today. Yep. Mr. Young, good to see you. Buddy and I have been just yammering here about what's liberal. Yep, parasitical energetic relationship our government enjoys with us. Yeah, and they're eating our lunch. Yes, we don't have it in America anymore. Good news, buddy. Congratulations, my friend. We will always be there for you and your children, as all our relations. Aho. Yes. Rub your fiance's feet. Find what other body part she likes rubbed and rub that. Find what she likes to eat. what makes her happy, whatever that food is, and then start to do a little homework on nutrition, right? Make sure she's always drinks enough water. There are a lot of the other thing you could learn, buddy, is a little bit find a good herbalist nutritionist that does muscle testing, right? And you both learn about nutrition, and you both learn how to muscle test, and that you muscle test your physical, your a shrink. And one of my clientele were, marriage counseling. Was guess what the biggest gripe of couples was? What was the thing that caused the most trouble? It wasn't sex. It wasn't finances. It was the fact that the couple did not share the housekeeping. If one or the other throws their socks on the floor or does things that annoys the other one, it's the end of it. So you're already fiance with a baby, so you should be knowing your fiance pretty well. I had two wives, and both were very demanding women. And why I got along with them as well as I did, they wanted before they even asked it. I had this knack of being able to read people, so I knew exactly, especially my second wife. I never did. It was, her apartment I moved into, and I basically, paid the rent, the bills, whatever, because her business was in fashion. They make a ton of money and then they spend it, and then there's this glide period where they have no money, but they got to keep paying the bills, right? So I took care of it when it needed to be taken care of, and like I said, I always took care of whatever needed to be taken care of without her having to ask, and that's, that wasn't the only reason she loved me, but the fact that I loved her that much. So many people, boy, your old lady, boy, she's a handful, boy, she's like, no. I was happy to make her happy. And what makes people happy? What makes people happy is making that person happy. What makes me happy is when I make the people I love happy. And all of you, my cadre, when I can make you happy, that's what makes me happy, And so that's just my thumbnail little advice for anybody who's in a relationship. You want to have a fun and good relationship, you always be for the other person 100%. You don't think about yourself, you think about the other person. About you. And of my wife, that's how I treat them. And they treat me the same way, Now, yeah, like I said, I'm venal, that's how it works, And all the relationships, my second wife, we lived in a pretty snazzy apartment, and that was her apartment. And it probably had 40 other apartments in it, right? And we'd all, depending on what time you went to work, we'd all see each other only on the elevator. And my wife and I probably, I don't know, had sex 4 times a day. And we're both kind of loud and athletic. That's how I would put it. But she was really loud and real. I was keeping up with her, but she was the loud and athletic one. And so people knew what we were doing in the whole building. And the only other couple of those 40 other apartments that were couples was this old couple who had been married 60-something years. And our schedules were about the same. And so most days of the week, we would be getting on the elevator when they would, we were on the third floor, and I think they were on the floor above us or further up, 6 floors. Anyway, and when we get on, they would be there and they'd be snuggling and smiling and cooing like doves. And there'd be other couples that were like scowling and, like got their backs to each other. And, my wife and I would get on, basically be cooing and snuggling and smiling. And I don't know how many times the old couple and us would look at each other and smile and kind of just shake our heads like, yeah, we just got some, just like, 10 minutes ago. Anyway, and the rest of the people were like, we haven't had any in like a year and a half. So why was that going on? It was because I loved her so much and she loved me so much. And, in a lot of ways, she, even though physically people would say, boy, you sure are, patient and put up a lot of stuff. And I remember, here's a good story. I don't know if you heard it before, I've told it, but probably, at least 20 chats ago. So I had I was a master electrician and I was a kind of a developer in New York City, job by job. I had clients that we did maintenance, but we had 1 or 2 jobs. The real secret of success was never do any more than you can do, right? So anyway, and I had these, very, like I did rich people's apartments, houses, restaurants, nightclubs, right? So anyway, I would have 1 or 2 jobs going. And so, and my shop wasn't a union shop, but I had, the stall, Grandpa's stall. He started Local 3. So anyway, so I had this very interesting relationship because I've been a union electrician. I had been a union electrician and a union rep. So I knew the politics and the people and all the rest. And so I could ease into jobs that were union jobs, saying, listen, I'm only going to do this. I'm not going to step on any of your toes. It'll make it really better for all of you guys. And, they all knew me. I'd been involved with, all these people. So I could usually, 99.9% of the time, get my way, negotiate, navigate. That's my whole thing, negotiating, navigating. So anyway, we were actually doing a pretty big job. We were doing an office, a very fancy schmancy office for a company that did, I don't even know, demographic research for advertisers. So they had a lot of these kind of spaces that had, one-way mirrors and, they would have people trying things out and then they'd be, anyway, so it was a pretty specialized space. It was about 20,000 square feet of offices and these rooms and 2 studios to make commercials or at least industrials. Anyway, and everything was interlaced into a made center control room. Anyway, so it was a pretty complicated kind of job. And it was, in a tall office building that was being manufactured by, union construction company. And it was, I don't know, at least 30 stories, if not taller. It was one of those ones where they had the elevator on the construction elevator on the outside of the building that ran on a track, before the other elevators were finished. Anyway, so we're in there and we're working away and, so yeah, I was the GC and I was the electrician, and I had my crews that did certain special, but I made sure that the unions, the carpenters, the masons, the plumbers, all those unions, the painters, they did all of that. And so everybody was happy and we're working away, but there's lots of different trades and different groups of people. And it's not like just my team who knows my wife and knows the relationship. So there were at least 60 people on this floor, 20,000 square feet, working away, right? And I'm like working on something and I have 2 of my folk working with me and I hear this click, 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 click. And I know it's my wife, because she's got these like high heels that are that tall. and she walks in them in such a way that it makes a certain, so only she walks in high heels like this. And so I turn around, and there she is in this unbelievable red screaming dress that I saw her off, when we left for work. And she's a fashion designer, so she is hot, like, all the time. Never a hair out of place, right? And a body like you can't believe. And makeup perfect, and she's in this dusty, crappy, war zone of a construction site, and she's just come up on an elevator that rides on a little track on the outside of a building, and everything is, construction steel, and anyway, and she's got this little yellow hard hat on that, and she quick comes up to me and she goes, "Take your clothes off." And so, she knows that I don't really wear underwear. I'm wearing a pair of jeans, a work shirt, work boots. And so I go, "Sure." And I just take I'm not Mr. Modesty. I'm like, a flower child. I lived on communes where I was naked half the time, going to rainbow gatherings, da 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 da. So, sure, baby. So I take my clothes off, and she opens up this box, and she has. So I take my clothes off, and she opens up this box, and she has a Italian leather jumpsuit that has those lightning bolts on it and pockets just right. I mean, she's seen me being an electrician enough times to know what tools I have, and I'm always fixing. She has a big factory, big cutting machines, big industrial everything, and I would take care of everything. So she's knows the tools I use. So she has made me a jumpsuit, Italian leather, brown, kind of red, purpley brown, and with screaming yellow lightning bolts on it, and these pockets, my side cutters, my, electric drill, all these, pockets to put everything. And on the inside, it's silk. So I take, I'm standing there naked. I put on the jumpsuit, and it doesn't have a zipper. It has this kind of fold with Velcro, and then a zipper, and then another. So the leather doesn't even have a seam there, right? And then she has these boots she's made me. The 1930s, different trades are watching this, right? And I put it on. She looks at me and goes, "Perfect." And she kisses me on the cheek and she says, "I'll see you at home, sweetie." She turns around and click, 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 and everyone looks with their mouths open like, right? And this one moron plumber looks at me and goes, "Well, man, you're whipped." And I said, "You wish you were, buddy." And meaning she made that outfit, A, because that's how she wanted me to look, but B, because she loved me. And every seam, everything, silk on the end, man, it's felt so good. Nothing chafed, nothing rubbed. And it was amazing. And that was the perfect example of love's co-creation in love with another person. Meaning, did I get upset? "What are you doing here?" "Oh, you're embarrassing." No. "Sure, honey." I dropped my clothes. I was naked amongst all those guys and my crew, and, put the jumpsuit on. And my crew is pretty much all women. Pretty much, because they're smarter, they're better. If they don't know what they're doing, they go, "Hey, Al, how do I do this? What do you want?" They won't do it to screw up, right? Whereas guys will go, "I know what I'm doing," and then totally screw it up, right? So, yeah, most of those girls have seen me naked before, so it was like not a problem. And they loved my wife. They thought she was, amazing, right? And they were like modeling their lives after her, because my wife, she grew up in Italy as a princess in a castle. Her father was the Albert Einstein of diamond cutting, and he was brought over on the Andrea Doria, which sank, and they, were saved, right? And he was brought over by Harry Winston to cut the Hope Diamond, which had a curse on it, And he came over on the boat, and the boat sank, and said, "Oh wow," he survived, and he cut the Hope Diamond perfectly, and he was like the star of the town, and he got really into being treated like that, and so he expected that, and then things didn't go that right, so he drank a little bit and a little bit more, and a little bit more. So by the time she was 17, both her parents had died in a car crash, and she was on the street, 17, without a penny, and all she had was her Catholic school uniforms. And she went from that having a multi-million-dollar fashion industry. And no one gave it to her like Donald Trump. She did it herself. And this girl was hard as nails, unbelievable. And she loved me, She could have had almost anybody. And she picked me. And she really did pick me. But that's another story. So buddy, that is what my advice to you. You always have to be 1,000% for your sweetie and your children. Never think about yourself. Because what will make you happy is making them happy. Let's see. Let's go back and read a bit. Where did we leave off? Looks like us. Liberal arts. No one's taught the liberal arts. Cognitive dissonance. Yep. It's a parasitical. Yep. And we're still talking about liberals. Okay, here's where we go into the fiancé. This is where I went into my monologue. Congrats. Oh, Mr. Young, you were talking about, I thought it was Buddy who had a fiance. Mr. Young, okay. So I was talking, I was talking to all young lovers. This is true, but you gotta do both. Meaning you kind of detox, and you gotta put something better to replace that toxin. Deep fried ice cream, coated 100-year-old duck eggs. She may require, like I said, whatever she likes. Yep, rubber veil. Bagels. Oh, good. She's a herbalist. Good. See, you got your own built in there. You are the man, Mr. Young. Okay. Gratitude. Gratitude is the best of all human character traits. What is Buddy saying here? She may like beetroot armpit rubs. Oh, it's kind of a lady. And the tramp story. Yep, I'm right there with you. The five. Breathe the free air. Yep. Tip over the lab now. Breaking Bad Pop. That's why I am the griot. I tell you the lovely story. And the story you need to hear, and maybe even the story you don't want to hear. Oh, what did I dream of lately? I don't know. Lately, I haven't been taking the time to put the dream in the front. I just kind of take a look at it, going, I'll remember it later. You can put everything you dream, think, speak, see, feel is in your Akashic records. So, I'm not ever really too lost for words or, oh, I forgot. I mean, when I'm talking to you guys, I can, what was that? And you guys are really good at breaking that stuff up. Cheers. So, back to what I was thinking about earlier, about how things aren't any different. People are just waking up. And just like in the question, Mr. Young, about your, your fiance, and I was saying, nutrition, and then someone said, detox. Well, how's this for an image? Donald Trump, he is the X-lax of the body politic, and he is emptying the colon of all the toxins that have been rearing their head for the last 4,000 years. So he's emptying out all of that goo, and we have to replace it with something healthy and nutritious. Now, Buddy would tell us, refried whatever in chocolate. And, hey, I had a friend who would fry anything in covered in chocolate and it would always taste good, but it may not be the best. So and I was saying that and this is how we kind of got into the motif, but I was saying that we need to build an alternative aesthetic that will be the nutrition, the positive nutrition, to take the place of the toxins in our body politic, you know. And I keep coming up with these things, and people keep usurping them. I mean, I liked the term liberal, went from the Latin, but to liberate, But and these guys have taken it, and progressive. That was another term I like. But oh man, it's like every time I think of a positive motif, it's so I have to get more creative and create one that even if they do take it, it will not be able to be perverted, and it will actually, even when they try to, it'll make things better. So I've been using the you know term ascension of our consciousness and being awake. I see that creeping up into um, you know what's being put out there in social media, and that's a good thing. So I think that's one reason why people are starting to freak out, because they're becoming awake. Their consciousness is ascending, and they're actually moving forward with little baby steps. So we have to figure out a eat a human. I wouldn't eat anything in a human. Yeah. And the other thing is, I really wouldn't eat any of my relations. Now I have, and I'm still eating ham sandwiches and brisket and corned beef hash omelets, but I'm moving away from that. You know, um, and so and I used to live with folk who hunted and collected their daily bread without, they never went to a supermarket because they lived about 1,000 miles from any kind of place where they could buy or sell. So, so when they would hunt, Every time, did you ever see the movie Avatar? And when the big blue girl shot one of those, seven-legged deers, the arrow didn't kill it right away, but it knocked it down and stunned it. And she would run over and she would put the blade right into the heart after thanking the animal for giving them, their daily bread. And that's why we do say grace. We do say grace because, thanks, for the victuals. We're giving thanks. And when you bless what you eat, that's when you cleanse it. That's when you purify it. And these are the kind of aesthetics I'm talking about because we have replaced, shamanic ceremony with buying your food at the supermarket. So I want everyone in their own way, not any singular way is the right way, no dogmas here, but I want everyone to think about this and try to start bringing that into their own life, in every day, in every way. And so, let's see, what are we talking about here? Okay. Global consciousness, yep. What if we all thought the same thing at the same time? Well, that's what ceremony is about.